Hello everyone and welcome to a slice of my life, and this is a very special slice of my life because we have the Wolverine integral folding pocket knife with us for this slice of my life. This beautiful knife is by Bade Modern Designs. Prior to this, I kept saying it was Bade Modern Designs, but I spoke to Vahit, and Vahit told me it was pronounced as Bade. Like, you don't say Bade, you say Bade. I'm learning something new every day. So yes, Bade Modern Designs. You guys already heard the name behind that. It is Vahit Dincman, and Vahit is no stranger to this channel in the form of other items. But for those of you who are new to the channel, or if you need a refresher, Vahit has left his mark in the form of some other EDC items such as the Wolfist Knuck. But related to the videos in this channel so far, it is in the form of the Origin V2 as well as the DNA Nucleus spinners, and this, the Persuader. This piece here, unlike the other two that I mentioned, is released under Vahit's own brand, which is BMD, Bade Modern Designs. And for those of you who have not seen this before, the Persuader is a very beautiful titanium spinner, and it's got carbon fiber inlays, spins very well, and it's got a very beautiful design. And Vahit now has basically cemented his name in the spinner community, at least for some very well designed pieces. He's even dabbling in knuckle rollers right now, and those are actually being sold on his Shapeways store. So if you guys are interested, I'm pretty sure some of you are, just check out links in the description box down below, okay? But anyway, I'll move this aside because, well, yeah, the Persuader is just amazing. This is gonna be all about the Wolverine integral folding knife. Now, for all you knife lovers out there, you probably have seen this knife around online for a few months now, especially on channels such as Dr. Frankie's channel, Nick Shabazz, and Birdshot IV. I mean, Frankie and Bird. They all done really good first impressions and a first look at this particular knife, and this one here is a prototype as well. I do not think it is the same piece that they had featured on their channels because this was sent to me via Vahit through Roy of EDC for Life, and we are all familiar with that man. So before I tell you guys more about the backstory, let's start with the specs so we can get that out of the way. This knife features a 3¼ inch blade, and because that is longer than 3 inches, I think a lot of you will not be able to carry this. I'm not so sure about the knife laws all around the world, but at least here in Singapore, it's not a problem. 3¼ inch blade, very beautiful blade. And the blade width is 156 thousandths of an inch, and it is made of M390 steel, very good steel. The handle length is 4¼ inches, and the handle thickness is about ½ an inch wide. And yes, you guys can see it is an integral design made of 6L4V titanium, and the total length of it is about 7½ inches. This knife is running on a ceramic ball bearing system with a milled pocket clip and a lanyard slot, which is very well done. I'll talk about that shortly. And because it is of an integral construction, the solid titanium handle makes this thing a little bit heavier. It's weighing in at about 4.8 ounces. But I gotta say though that I'm one of those people who are not really bothered by the weight of knives, you know? Like, if it's light, it's light. If it's heavy, it's heavy. So now really quickly, I'm gonna give you guys a size comparison, and here it is next to a Ferrum Forged Falcon, and I have a CRKT Pilar, and thus far you can obviously tell the Wolverine is much bigger than these two knives. Here it is next to a Spyderco Delica 4, just a little bit bigger than the Spyderco Delica 4. And last but not least, this is a comparison against a Spyderco Nirvana. And yes, the Nirvana is way longer. But the reason why I'm comparing it to the Nirvana is because the Nirvana is also of an integral construction. Size comparison out of the way. Now it is story time, where I tell you guys about the backstory of this, because it's an interesting story and I know that all of you are interested in that. But I just want to show you guys the action for a little bit. That opening and closing is really crisp and it's very satisfying, and I just wanted to let you guys know that yes, you can handle this with one hand. So I mentioned just now that I received this Wolverine prototype from Vahit himself through Roy of EDC for Life. We are all familiar with Roy. I'll put a link to his Facebook group as well because he has some interesting stuff there to share with everyone. And I want to say a huge thank you to Vahit, because if not for Vahit, I wouldn't have been blessed with this honor of a hands-on experience with this knife, because he is the one that requested for me to make a review of this. Prior to this, you guys know I've stated out very clearly that I am not a knife reviewer. I don't specialize in doing knife reviews, but Vahit has specially requested for me to do just that, and so I don't want to disappoint. Vahit's a great guy. Known him for quite a while now, and I gotta say that so far all of his products are very well done, very beautifully designed, and so I took up the challenge and I hope that I don't disappoint. Thank you Vahit for this opportunity. I really appreciate it because this is a very beautiful knife. Now I also mentioned that this is Vahit's design, but this knife is actually produced by We Knives. Now we all know, once we talk about manufacturing by we know that it's gonna be really top-notch quality. And the cool thing is, even before Vahit got into designing spinners, knucks or knuckle rollers, he was and has always been a knife enthusiast, and that to me is really cool because I'm kind of making the transition the other way. I started off this whole EDC culture thing with spinners, and now I'm moving on into other things, especially knives. Story time is over, so let's get into my review of this knife. I'm gonna do my best here, okay? I'm gonna do my best, so pardon me everyone. This is a flipper style integral folding pocket knife, and if you're unfamiliar with what that term means in regards to knives, it means that the handle or the scale of the knife is milled out of a solid piece of titanium, compared to, say, for example, something like this, which is a frame lock. You'll see two pieces and a back spacer, a very typical construction. Bringing in the Falcon again just as a reference point, you'll see two sides of the scales and one back spacer over here. And then when you compare that back to this, you'll see that it is a solid piece of titanium that is milled out. So that basically means that you need someone with the expertise, the precision, and the skill to actually get this done right. And of course, it's done by WE Knives. WE Knives, what can I say? Good machining. So back to the flipper tab, it has some light jimping over here, which gives it a little bit more grip, makes it easier to deploy the knife. And on the blade itself, you'll see a window slot cut out here. And in my opinion, I like the way this slot is done. Look, it's been very nicely chamfered around the edges, so what can I say? Very, very well done. And this also lets you deploy the knife in other ways that I will talk about later in the video. The blade shape is of a Warncliffe style, and it features a flat grind here, pretty high up. Nice flat grind, I like it a lot. And it's got a two-tone satin, and I'm assuming this is kind of like an acid wash finish because it doesn't look like any kind of stone washing that I've seen before. It just looks like acid wash, although it is not dark, so I could be wrong. I'm not so sure. Maybe stone wash? I don't know. But anyway, two-tone, okay? Two-tone. Down here, we have a nice finger/sharpening choil that fits my fingers pretty nicely. And you also have the BMD, Bade Modern Designs logo here. And you got the blade steel here, but that's a little bit small. Can you guys see that? M390. I'll zoom in for you. It also features a swedge up here, which is a nice touch because it gives it a more angular design. Pretty aggressive looking. And it's got jimping done up here. Moving on to the handle, this is of a very, very distinctive Bade Modern design. And that is because Vahit always has this dual material kind of design. Here we have carbon fiber as well as titanium. Same for the persuader, and we all are familiar with the V2 origin as well as the nucleus spinner. Those are all like modular with multiple materials available. And I mean, to top it off, look at the Wolfist Nook. It's two materials, so very, very trademark style, I would say, of Vahit and his designs. Now these carbon fiber inlays, yes, one on each side of the bolster area, has been given some kind of a texture. Now I think it looks like some kind of a dashed texture, but I'm gonna liken it to almost like a diamondish cross hatch kind of texture. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but what I do know is that it is very beautifully done. It's got really nice grip as well, not too harsh, and I just like the way it's done. Yeah, I think it's more like lines. It looks like mini bamboo fluting slots. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah. Then further down here along the show side, you actually have this 3-line motif that the other reviewers have mentioned that looks like Wolverine claw marks, and I have to agree. But it does add to the detail of this knife, and it does offer a little bit more of a nice texture. So for those of you who like to, I guess, rub your thumb along your knife handle or knife scale as a worry stone kind of thing, this is gonna work pretty well down here as well as up here because you get two different textures. I mean, you could do this as well. So worry stone knife, very interesting, right? Next, all of the edges are either curved like that or angled like here and here, and that makes it very comfortable to hold even over here. And I like this feeling a lot. It just feels very good. However, there is a couple of sharp points here at the tail end of the knife, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail when we get to the action of the knife. And clearly this prototype features a black coated finish. On the back, there is a milled pocket clip that is removable. Yes, I've tried removing it, and it is not a problem to remove this pocket clip. Flex and tension is pretty okay, and I like the positioning of this. It's on a flat, smooth surface area, so it's not going to scratch up or rip up your pockets at all. I like that a lot. Tension is pretty good. It's really easy to put in and take out this knife from your pocket. This knife also features a lanyard slot. Now, I'm not so sure about other integral folding pocket knives because I don't really have much experience with them. The only other integral knife that I have is the Spyderco Nirvana, and you guys can see that the Nirvana does not have a lanyard slot, which is a little bit unfortunate because I really like lanyard slots on knives. But the Wolverine has one, and it's solid all the way through. It's not hollow, which means that almost this entire part of the knife itself is solid through and through, all the way throughout. And that's really awesome because we're talking about solid titanium here. So yes, very nicely placed lanyard slot as well. I mean, a design like this, you know, to have an integral knife of this size, nothing bigger, Plus, being able to feature a lanyard slot, I mean, that's some crazy good positioning and good design, I gotta say. Now, because this is an integral knife, naturally it'll feature a frame locking mechanism because the lock itself is part of the knife, you guys can see. This one actually has a steel lock bar insert, and I believe that this insert is secured from the outside, not on the inside. But the cool thing about it is that it has a over travel stopper. So this insert also acts as the over travel stop pin, and what that means is that you're not able to pull the lock bar too far out of the scale itself. So that ensures that the tension here is always going to be good. So I like that a lot. Now let's talk about the action on the blade. Like I showed you guys earlier, the action is really crisp when you're deploying the blade. But this flipper tab here, I feel that the best way to deploy it is to push it down, like as if you're pressing on a push button, versus pulling it back or kind of like pushing it through in this kind of direction. Just pushing it down works the best. Yep, for me, at least for me. I really like that snap right at the end. Feels so satisfying. And this is where the sharp point at the back comes into play. Because of the way I hold the knife when I'm deploying it with the flipper tab, I actually have the end of the knife digging into the palm of my hand, and that's where this sharp point kind of bites me a little bit. You could see that red dot there. But it's not really that sharp actually, it's just something that tells you, hey, I'm here, you know, it doesn't really hurt, you know, at all. And like I said before, because of this slot, you're able to deploy in other ways. So yes, you could Spidey flip this thing open, just gotta get your middle finger in there and Spidey flick it open. And to me, that was really surprising because I did not think that that was gonna be possible. But it can be done. And I'm struggling a little bit because of the funny angle that I have my hand in because, you know, the camera setup and everything. But if I get my hands in a more comfortable position like this, for example, Spidey flicking is not a problem at all. It's actually pretty comfortable. And because I have my hand in a different grip when I'm opening it with the Spidey flick method, this doesn't bite into the palm of my hand. So that makes it a lot more comfortable, in my opinion, versus this. Although this wasn't really much of a concern in the first place. It's just that if I Spidey flick it open, it is more comfortable because of this over here. Yeah. I don't know if I can open it with my thumb, but it is possible. I've seen Bird from the Birdshot IV channel open it with his thumb. I can't seem to do that. Oh, I can do that if I have my middle finger at the back here to give me some extra support. Let me just try it purely with my thumb. Try and grab it, shove it in there, and I'm not able to do it. But yes, you can do it. I've seen it being done. I just don't have the thumb strength. Maybe it's just a bad grip, I don't know. But yes, you can actually use that as a thumb hole opener as well. Lockup is pretty good. I mean, this is a prototype, so I can't really say much about that, but I just wanted to show you guys that the lockup is pretty good. And the blade centering, pretty darn awesome. You know, you'd expect nothing less from Wii machining. This is really well done for a prototype. Like, I'm really pleasantly surprised and very mind blown at the quality of this prototype, guys. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Really well done. Now let's talk about the ergonomics. Overall, this has very good ergos. This whole area over here, for me, it fits my hands very well. Look, index finger, middle finger, right there. It's perfect. And the end here doesn't stick out too far, so I like that a lot. It's easy for me to choke up as well, like that. And when I do that, see my thumb naturally rests on the jimping area of the blade. That's really comfortable, so I could do a lot of fine detailed work in this. I have a lot more control now, and even if I change the grip up here like that, this is also very comfortable because my index finger is actually here. I can feel a little bit of the jimping here, and I got this smooth area here where it actually offers me a lot of control as well to push downwards. However, I'm going to mention that the pocket clip does get in the way. Sometimes it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I've overcome that by making sure that every time I grip the knife, that the pocket clip kind of sits either here or here in the grooves of my fingers. Are these called the grooves of my fingers? No, the joints, the joint area. So if I have the pocket clip right there, okay, then it's going to be super comfortable because it's sitting here. See that? But if I grip it, say for example, a little bit higher like that, then yeah, the pocket clip kind of juts out. It doesn't cause any pain, just it feels a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm gonna mention this, I know that Vahit specifically mentioned that this is a prototype, so there's gonna be a lot more hotspots than expected, but I'm just gonna mention that the relief cuts here for the locking mech, they look really good, but a little bit sharp on the inside edges. Not on the outside because you could see the angle over here, but on the inside, little bit sharp. These bite more than the clip and the back here, but they don't cause any pain. They're just telling you that they're there, you know what I mean? But it's just something in this prototype, guys, that does take away from the overall comfort of the knife. It's not a deal breaker, it's really comfortable, it fits my hands very, very well, even when I choke it up. One of the most ergonomic knives I've handled so far. Oh, and also, because this area here is curved, I love the fact that Vahit did that curved touch over here, because it just adds to the overall feel and comfort when your fingers wrap around it. It just feels good. So all in all, very, very good. So good job to BMD for this design, overall thought of it, and of course the WeKnives of being able to actually manufacture to that standard. Look at that, man. To execute all of this is crazy. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about the overall design of the knife, and this is very, very subjective because we're talking about design here. And I'm going to start by talking to you guys about how this handle is curved on the top here, and I like it very much because you actually have a small relief here going down, and that kind of lines up with the flipper tab. So the way everything is done with the pocket clip like that, when it sits in your pocket this way down, this is going to be flush, see, in your pocket, because this part is going to be sitting against the seam of your pocket, and this part is where the rest of your pocket is. If you have anything else in your pocket, you see, the flipper tab doesn't get in the way. That's really awesome because of this. Very, very well thought out, very well designed. I mean, after all, Vahit is a knife enthusiast himself, so I'm pretty sure he knows of all the pain points that all you knife enthusiasts out there face as well. I also like the fact that this part over here is a seamless line. You can see that the design just flows from the bolster area or the curve of the handle onto the jimping area of the knife. See that? It's just smooth. And when you deploy it, look, this part as well. So seamless from the flipper tab onto the bolster area of the knife handle and into the finger choil. Look at that, it's completely flush. The bolster and the finger choil area, totally flush. Very well done. I'm super impressed with this. Then if you take a look at it as a whole, you'll see this whole entire shape like that. It curves upwards, it dips down a little bit here into a almost flat area, and is completely flush with the jimping of the knife. Goes up again and comes out. So it looks like kind of an arc here with another arc created by this line over onto this line. It's nuts, guys. This is really, really solid, man. When I took a look at it and I really went to scrutinize it, I realized, wow, the whole knife just flows with that hint of that arc or bowed design. So yeah, I mean, I hope that you guys can appreciate it as well, because so much thought has been put into just this one integral knife design. That's really, really awesome. Next, I'm going to tell you guys that I tried to disassemble it, but I did not know how to get into the stop pin inside, so I wasn't able to take out the knife in totality. I did, however, try to clean up the inside and re-lubricate the inside a little bit, but because I'm not able to fully disassemble it, I'm afraid that anyone who uses this knife over a long period of time is going to face some issue trying to clean up the inside of the blade over there, especially the ball bearing washers, because a lot of dust and dirt buildup usually ends up at the ball bearing area. So yeah, you guys can take a closer look at the very beautiful one-piece integral milled out design here on the inside. One thing I did suspect is that if I'm able to remove this lock bar insert and take it out, I might be able to lift up the carbon fiber there from the underneath, and that might expose the lock pin. I'm not so sure. I did not want to go to that extent because this knife doesn't belong to me. I've got to return it to Roy. Oh yeah, and since we're talking about the lock bar insert, I know that Frankie and Bird mentioned that they wish this was of a same finish. I don't think that is possible because this is a different material. In this application, it is steel on steel for the actual lock bar itself, and I think that's much better than titanium on steel. But because this is made of steel, you won't be able to put this onto the scale first and then send this in for your finishing. So this one actually, in fact, I think as a counter proposal to what they suggested to have it in the same finish, I say that if you kept this part actually raw in color, it'll make a very nice contrast to the blade itself. So you look at it like that with a nice steel colored or raw colored lock bar insert, and I think that that would add an extra layer of accent to this part of the blade. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think that would work as well. Then you also wouldn't have to go through the trouble of making this black. But of course, I understand where he's coming from because Vahit originally offered this in two different finishes, one with the black coating and one with the raw finish. I don't know if it's raw finish or it's just raw colored with a stonewash finish, but either way, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So the final thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is the price point that was on this guy, and I'm using was past tense because right now we're not able to purchase this or back this up, okay, which is unfortunate. But the price point on this was $279 US, and that is a crazy cheap price for an integral knife. Now, when I first got into knives and I got interested in integral knives, at least when I found out about what they were, I noticed that the price on integral knives were easily above $350. Now, case in point, my Nirvana cost me 400, you guys know. And of course, because of the kind of requirement, you know, for the machining of the blade itself, the tolerances that you need and how you actually build the whole thing, the amount of time and effort that goes into it, it's definitely going to cost a lot more. For this though, $279 is, I don't even know how that's possible. I don't even think Vahit's gonna make any money out of selling this. Okay, I'm just gonna randomly say that this was really an amazing price point for this particular knife. And even if I paid $279 for this prototype in this way, like the way it's made right now with this sharpness over here and the sharpness over here, it is something that I'm going to be more than happy to accept, you know. But you know, because Vahit is a small maker, he actually went on to Indiegogo as a crowdfunding platform to try and get funds to kickstart the production of this knife, and unfortunately that did not get fully funded. So nope, everything was halted. And here's the thing, I don't know if this is a factor to a lot of you guys out there who are familiar with crowdfunding platforms, Indiegogo versus Kickstarter, where if you back a campaign on Kickstarter, you don't get charged until the campaign is over, but for Indiegogo, you get charged the moment you back it. The thing is, Vahit made a promise that if the campaign did not reach its funding goal, he would refund every single person. I'm not so sure if everyone who read that campaign or saw the campaign was aware of that, because I backed it up and I did get my refund. I mean, Vahit, he is a good man, you know, he stands by his word. So he did provide the refund. But I'm just wondering, in you guys' opinion, Indiegogo versus Kickstarter, is there more of a fear backing things up on Indiegogo because your funds immediately get deducted? Is that something that is a big factor to you guys versus, for example, Kickstarter? Because in my opinion, funding something on Indiegogo is more like supporting that maker or supporting the person who started the campaign. Once I put my money down, even if the campaign does not get funded, I'm not gonna get my money back. And that's my own, I guess, impression of Indiegogo. But because I read that line that Vahit said that he would be giving a refund to every single person who backed him up if his campaign did not get funded, I trusted him and I did that, I backed it up. So I gotta be honest and say that I'm a little bit sad that this did not get successfully funded, because I was thinking this is such a beautiful knife. You know, for $279, this is super worth it. I was initially thinking that Vahit was gonna tell me that the price on this was gonna be like 400, and I still want to support him anyway, but 279 is such a steal. But anyway, oh well, I don't know what the next step for Bade Modern Designs is going to be, but I do know that they have another knife design out there. It is called the Hive, and that one is poised to be manufactured by Tuya knives. I don't have any experience with Tuya knives, but I've heard nothing but good things about them. I don't know about this particular Wolverine, but I do hope that this will eventually go into production. I'm not sure if the price point will still be able to remain at $279, but if this goes into production, then Vahit, if you're watching this video, count me in. I definitely would want one of these Wolverine integral knives, because this is really, really well done. I already spoke so much about the design and it just appeals to me. It's really something that is my style, you know? And that is it for this review, everyone. I hope that I did it justice, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, especially you, Vahit. I hope that you like this video as well. I know you told me a lot of times that this is a prototype, it's gonna have some hotspots, but I wanted to be really, really fair to everyone watching this video. Hotspots are hotspots, I'm not gonna lie. You guys know I always provide my full honesty in everything that I look at, especially the fact that you approached me. Dude, thank you so much, and I hope that you like this video. So to everyone else, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for sharing in this slice of my life. I will put links, as always, in the description box down below to all of Vahit's socials. Make sure you check him out. Really, really awesome designs coming out from that genius mind, okay? Let me tell you that. Really, really awesome designs. Stay tuned for more, I suppose, and I'm looking forward to any news or any next updates to this Wolverine integral folding pocket knife. Once again, everyone, thank you for your support, thank you for your time, and I will catch all of you in the next slice of my life. Till then, everyone, let me just show you the action one more time again. Look at that. Super, super crisp. Haha. Haha. Gaga boost. Update time. So, Vahit has posted an update to the design of the Wolverine integral folding pocket knife over on the Bade Modern Designs Instagram page, and I will put a link to that page in the description box down below. But let me just scoot this knife over here to the side so that we all can feast our eyes on the picture that I'm going to post on the right side of this video, and let's talk about it. First of all, he wanted to thank everyone for all the feedback that he's received for this knife so far, but here are some of the changes that he wanted to highlight. He has made changes to this thumb hole opening slot. He's changed the design and shape a little bit, made it a little bit smaller, but the intention is to allow users to open this with more options instead. So you guys saw I was struggling with opening it with my thumb, but now apparently with the design change, it's gonna be even easier. I mean, who knows, we might be able to flick it open upside down with the reverse grip, right? The next next area of interest is this forward finger choil here, or the sharpening choil. He's changed the shape and made it wider so that more people could choke up on the knife when holding it. You could see that my fingers actually fit there nicer, but people with bigger hands or chunkier fingers at least are gonna have some problem there. So widening it is gonna be able to allow for more hand sizes to actually fit in there, and I think that's a very good move. And last but not least, he addressed the two sharp spots that aren't really that sharp, but they are hot spots. And look at the design, it's rounded now. I mean, what can I say? Awesome job, Vahit. Just really good. I'm gonna say that although the picture of the updated design is a render, you know, knowing Vahit, it'll translate perfectly out into a real life object, the final product itself. So hands down, 100% trust in Vahit's vision. The guy has some really good mind and good eye for all of this. The only thing that I did not see, or maybe because he hasn't shared it, is any updates to the pocket clip design, because I know that Nick Shabazz as well as Birdshot 4, yeah, I know I've been saying the channel name wrong. It's Birdshot 4, not IV. I mean IV, Roman numerals for 4. But they've also commented that the pocket clip might be a little bit of a discomfort, you know, depending on how you hold it. And I myself highlighted that in this review video, so I haven't seen any pictures of that. And I don't know if Vahit received any feedback about this area over here that I shared about the relief cuts being a little bit sharp. So we'll have to see if Vahit will address that. But so far, 1, 2, 3 design changes, but it still looks like a beautiful knife. I don't know what this design area in that render over here is all about, but I gotta say it looks awesome. And because it is all in a raw color, that is right up my alley. I super love that raw color. So I'm really excited and hope that this is going to be one step closer to the actual production run of the knife. You know, fingers crossed. I still hope that the production will happen. I guess this is Gaga Boost for real, everyone. So Gaga Boost!